everybody. Welcome to the Circle of the Women Ambassadors of the UN, of course. I don't know whether you heard about it, that there is a Jungian analyst, a woman who had this initiative during the CSW to create the circles of women towards the 1 millionth circle. That's the idea. So that women from different professions, from different interests would create circles, would share their knowledge, their experience, their plans, their ideas. And actually, at the end, I mean, ideally, we would be interconnected also through these circles. So, hi, Madam Puri, please join us. Thank you. So the idea was in 2015, when I started my posting here, to create the UN Women Ambassador Circle. And it's not only for the PR ambassadors, but I thought it is already very difficult to get into the ranking of becoming an ambassador in diplomacy. So for all the women ambassadors in the UN, we should create this circle. And it is wonderful that it has become, in a way, already a tradition, because that's the third year in a row, and we are trying to invite you all at least twice a year and always create a special topic we would like to share and discuss. But of course, this is also a possibility for everybody to meet, and especially around September, October, we have got a number of new women ambassadors here. So first of all, I really would like to welcome all of them to the circle. And this is also an informal meeting point. We can ask each other favors. I hope we can all help each other. And also, you know, we can support. We can also support each other in different kinds of work. Now, because we are super busy, I know, and I'm really honored that you are so many here, but I know that people are coming and going, so that's quite of a difficult and busy time for everybody. I first of all really would like to welcome in our circle Miss Amina Mohammed, celebrated and very well-known Deputy Secretary-General, who is so dear to our heart and so close, and we are so proud of you, and thank you very much for honoring us and sharing your ideas with us. I'm very happy to welcome the wife of the PGA, who is herself Yarmina Hargashova, who is here with us, who is herself a television journalist. So I said, in old times, we must have been colleagues, although I'm older, sadly, than her. It's great that you are in our circle, and we are very much looking forward to working with you as well in the coming year. I'm very happy to welcome the Undersecretary Generals, if we have them here, I hope. Izumi Nakamishu, yes, absolutely, High Representative for Disarmament Affairs. And Jan Beagle, is she here? Oh yes, hi, sorry I haven't seen you arriving. Undersecretary General of the Department of Management. We have Assistant Secretary Generals Bettina Tucci-Barciotas, who is Program Planning Budget Accounts. Where are you? Here. And of course she is a regular here in the Culture Center because she is a music lover. And as you know, I've got the salon, the musical salon here, so as once being so close, Austria, Hungary, and the music, so you are always very welcome. Thank you for coming. We have Marta Helena Lopez from the Human Resources Management of the Department of Management here. Yes. And of course, it's always a great honor to welcome Madam Puri, who used to be an ambassador in Hungary, in Budapest, so we especially have got a very strong link, and we've been working so strongly together with the UN Women. Thank you very much for honoring us. And we have a special representative of the Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict, Virginia Gamba. No, she didn't come, she couldn't come. I think she's the one who couldn't come. And we have a senior advisor of the Secretary General on Policy, of course, who is our other speaker of today, and I'm so happy that Madam Maria Menendez is here with us, and thank you very much for joining us and sharing your ideas and knowledge. Now, we will have different topics. We will discuss the different developments within the women ambassadors, because it's wonderful to see that there are different initiatives. But first I would like to concentrate on the idea, what we were talking about, how we women could contribute even better in the implementation of the SDGs. What I would like to say, the format is that you have your hors d'oeuvre. So it's a hors d'oeuvre, food, drinks and talk. And after the talk and the discussion, we will open the warm buffet. But please eat and be part of this discussion. I also invited a special friend of mine, because of course we have seen and we are part of so many dramas and terrible circumstances we live in. And today I asked Ambassador Dominika to say a few words about her country and what happened there. That will be also part of our discussion. And also we will see how the Gender Parity Circle, how the International Gender Champion Circle moving on. And we have a new initiative started by Belgium. We hope to be more and more involved, which is a mentoring program, because I think it's very important that the ones, we who did it, we are ambassadors, women, we should give a push, a hope, a trust, and the support to all the women diplomats in the UN as well. So these are really the topics for today. Please start your hors d'oeuvre, and I would like very much to ask my sister, Madam Amina Mohammed, to say a few words how she thinks we should really push it even better. What would be our role in the implementation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katalin. This honor is mine to be here today, because whenever there's an opportunity to come and share a room, talk less food, with such accomplished women, honestly, it gives us the energy to continue on very rough days like today is one of those days. So when you come in here, the energy that we feel is immense, and you really do help us go much, much longer way. I've got some wonderful women in my office that have prepared all these talking points, and they're good to help guide me. But let me just say that, you know, if we can start from each and everything that we do, mostly the PRs here. I saw the other day an initiative that you brought together for mentoring women by telling each other's story, I think is incredible. I think it reminds us about our humanity. Today I sat at a table and there were some amazing people around on Space for Women that Lakshmi helped arrange with the PR from Austria. And, you know, amazing woman heading up one of our agencies, bringing an issue into our space that we have no idea about, if we're really truthful. Even as you read the speech, it's rather complicated. And you're trying to put that into context of what we've just done with the 2030 agenda. But I have to say, you know, I looked to the left and I said to the lady next to me, who's the lady over there? And she said, you know, why are you asking? And I said, well, she just refuses to smile. And she's really very serious, and it looks like the whole world is on her shoulders, and, you know, and I have to tell you, 15, 30 minutes late, she still wasn't smiling. And I was going to go, hello. But we don't know her story. We don't know exactly what it is. I mean, it must have been a pretty tough life, because I tell you, she was one of our astronauts. And when I think that there are so few in the world, I can imagine the journey that she's taken, and so a lot of her life is pretty serious. So probably the automatic thing is, you know, don't smile. And I say that because the other day I was also giving a speech in the Ecosol chamber, I think it was, and one of my friends tweeted to me, could you smile? And so I said this about this lady this morning, and then I was going through my text and I saw this, could you smile? I thought, we're all guilty. So I think we just need to do that, because it opens up a whole new side of us that is why we are who we are, and we don't want to be anything else except that. There's an enormous opportunity for the women PRs. You are only 37, and I know it's a little bit static and flat line, but we think that we can help to move that if we, for instance, every single foreign minister that I meet, I say, it would be really nice if your PR could be a woman, if it isn't. In as much as, you know, UN Women says to me, when you see a whole bunch of men coming, remind them that they need to be women. And it's happened because, you know, I mean, the PGA came in with a whole bunch of men when he first came, and I said, well, you know, it'd be really nice if at least half of them were women. So when he came back, he said to me, you have to have a look at our office now. So sometimes we're put in situations where we sort of think we're having an ask that is not diplomatic or you know, not well placed, but I think it's well taken because it's well intentioned and it's a must. So with the PRs, I think that in everything that you do, no apologies for we're asking things for women. And my baseline is that, you know, we talk about human resources being our greatest asset. In every country, we say it's our human resource base that is our greatest asset. And so I'm saying then invest in all of it instead of half. Because the reality is you're only investing in half, and as one of our presidents once said to us, you cannot fly a plane on half a wing. So no matter what ambition you have for an economy or where you're going, it's only going to go halfway if you're not investing in the other half. And it so happens that we can prove the statistics that we are well behind in terms of those rights and obligations that states have to give us, to invest in us. The framework for the SDGs, there was one goal that was never in doubt, and that was the Gender 5, that was the G5 goal. It was never in doubt. I think what we were trying to do was to make sure that it had more ambition, it was better articulated, the goal and the targets, and that we would take that goal and we would infuse what we were trying to do since Beijing in mainstreaming what that meant for every single goal. So it's not just about goal 5, it's about how that's the docking station for the other 16, and that it makes sense because we can actually say what is the role of this issue that is so important to cities? What do we mean by consumption and production, and where are we in that? And if we think we have a voice, well, let's start by looking at where we are in the decision making. We're not there, so how do we make a change to it? So I think it's a good reflection time to think conceptually about what this framework means. It's not from 8 goals to 17. It's a massive change in saying we want it all. We don't want a piece of it, we want it all. And so starting from within you, increasing the numbers of PRs. The other day, the former PGA said we've just missed a really huge opportunity. We don't know how we did it. But when we voted for the vice PGAs, and we got how many women out of 30-something? 2? I mean, that was just a huge missed opportunity. So could we, from today, begin to strategize about what we do next year and the next VPs that we have 50-50? And because how many do you need? 15, 16? 37 PRs that are women? We can do it. And how can we help to do that and really make that happen? Because I think here it would make an enormous difference to the way in which we manage what happens on the floor of the GA, of ECOSOC, of the committees. All of that would matter because suddenly women are in a position where they can take the helm of affairs and not just on the floor helping to shape decision making. So that's one important part. We move to all the things that we do. Right now we've got the reform. And it's a really important part of what we're doing because we're not just reforming for reform's sake. I just want to thank member states for giving the SG the benefit of the doubt and stretching to give us the broadest possibility on the QCPR. That was not easy, and I know that there were many battles before we got here. We heard about them. And now we see it because within the QCPR we're taking it incredibly seriously. I came into office 3 days and someone said to me, don't worry, we have QCPRs all the time, this is another one. You know, don't worry too much about it. But I worry 24/7 because the implications of giving you the ambition in response to the QCPR is whether or not we're going to get the ambition of implementing the 2030 agenda. There are implications for this QCPR. I don't know about the last lot, but this one is really important. And you've given us an opportunity to put before you really ambitious recommendations. And we will in many ways that I think that you could help us in the discussions that are going forward. I have to say that member states have been incredibly supportive. As I brief ECOSOC this afternoon, and in the coming weeks before we give the recommendations, we will start to become more specific about what we mean in terms of the regional piece, the RCs, what a new country team should look like and what kind of skill sets should they have. How about the funding compact for how we fund? And it's not just, funding the RC system is important because we will come and we will ask at the Fifth Committee. It is member states at the Fifth Committee. We speak to the ACBAQ, we speak to the Second Committee. So these are important parts of the process where decision making will happen, and we need support there. We also need to be pushed to give the best possible outcome. And I think, when we try to get what is fit for purpose for delivering on the framework, it will be really crucial. There will be many things that we haven't done before at the country level. And many in this room who are either heading up agencies or have been in the system or in development for a long time, we've only ever talked about the pilots. Now we're talking about scale. We're also talking about a country team that is not necessarily supporting a country with small amounts of money, but leveraging large amounts of money and partnerships to come in to do many, many programs that collectively will deliver on this ambitious agenda. So for instance, we had amazing opportunity a few months ago when the EU walked through our door and said, here's a pot of money for an initiative on gender-based violence, women and girls. And I think that it was an incredible opportunity. I thought it was a mistake because no one had ever said to me 500 million for gender-based violence. Anywhere had I looked to see that kind of money for this issue that people usually sweep to the back because it's not a priority. And here they were offering us this amount. In fact, when I first told the SG, I sort of took a note off because I thought it was a mistake. And I had to come back and say, no, it's 500. It's 500 million, right? Yes, you see, I still get it wrong. But it was an amazing thing for my team to sit with the UN Women, with UNFPA and UNDP, to start to design what this would look like. And we said, let's take the reforms into consideration, what we're aiming for, let's actually apply it. And I have to tell you, we came up against every hurdle and barrier you can imagine. From the mistrust about how this would be run, on the shoulders of who this would be built, how it would, experts meant at New York, experts at country level, how the money would flow. It was an example, a wet run to the challenges that we have in taking so much more because we're talking about trillions to country level. So I think we've got great examples of what we need to fix. The Sahel strategy, 18 strategies in one region, complete confusion. It's no wonder we haven't got off the ground. And even when we address it, women and youth were missed out of it. It is about women and youth. So how did we miss that? And I think it's in the complication of now countries have to think beyond their borders because those borders don't exist with half of the conflicts, the extremism, the migration, the refugees. People just walk over them because that's the reality of the day. So we need new skill sets and we need to make sure that when we say leave no one behind, who are the no ones? It's a new context, it's much newer thinking. So I think this time we're not negotiating. There are many red lines still up in New York. They don't exist on the ground, but they're up here. And so when we come to ask for the recommendations that we need to implement, to have you help other member states connect what is on paper to what must be in reality. And the reality is so different from what we negotiate up here. And we already did the negotiation. It's the 2030 agenda. It's magnificent. It's an enormous challenge, but it's ambitious, it's holistic, it does everything for everybody, it is universal, and some people will say it's too much. But who would you say it's too much to that is dying in childbirth, or that doesn't get an education, or suffers from the hurricanes that we just saw this last few weeks, and then say to them, I'm sorry, we don't have a macroeconomic framework or financial architecture to allow you to access money to build back. It's not possible that we say that in the world today. And this framework allows us to push those questions and to make it happen. So I know that women have a special place in explaining to people in a way that is across, as well as very straightforward in terms of delivering a result. Women deliver results. Women deliver results better than any other human on earth. But we do it in an inclusive way. We do, we're the other half. But we do it in an inclusive way, because we multitask naturally. We maneuver people to get them together to do things. I don't know many women that are happy, that are not in a community, a team, a group of friends, the circle. We don't function well outside of these things, and so it comes innately to us to bring the world together, to share problems, to find solutions. And I don't think we should underestimate the power of those things that we have and bring them into the GA, bring them into ECOSOC, so that we can help others understand why it is we're doing what we need to do at the country level, and it will make an enormous difference. I know that the initiative on gender-based violence is already across 5 regions, looking at the specificity of each of those regions. It is not one size fits all. And every woman has their expectations of what they would like us to invest in, and we need to connect with that, and I think that that initiative is doing it. So my big plug is for the reforms in development, the reforms in management, because we want to take service closer, we want to be more efficient. We have to cut a lot of the duplication, which is not overlaps that create good synergies. There are some of those, but there is also duplication. And if we can get rid of the duplication and do the scale, then I think we will really be talking about better efficiencies at the country level. But it's also about peace. And so on the peace and security reform, yes, there are red lines between humanitarian and development, but the reality is we must escape one in order to get to the other, and we must invest in the other in time, or else we slide back into the humanitarian crisis, into the conflict, into the arms of those that are ready to grab you, that are the extremists of today, and we want to make history tomorrow. So it's so important, the three streams. I know that Anna Maria will talk about gender parity, and I think that that whole experience of trying to do just that has implications that are stark on gender parity. You have to say in a room that today maybe 70–80% men that we want to do gender parity, they'll all say yes, and this is a really good idea, and then you have to say that the implications are that this time next year half of you have to leave the room and vacate for women, and then it's a different story. This is the reality. Where do you put them? And so once they realize that, they will work towards something happening, but it certainly won't be they move out of that seat. So we have to think about how the strategies for making gender parity happen and implement them. There's also the sexual exploitation and abuse, which is incredibly important to us. We have a big role to play in allowing that conversation to be the norm. It cannot be things that happen in a room at the side or somewhere. It has to be the norm. It has to be a zero tolerance for that. There is no amount of legislation nor institutions that will prevent it. They'll try to do some, but if society itself will hide that, will cover it, will from shame, from let's not talk about it, it's not etiquette, then we failed from the start, and it's not institutions that are going to do it for us. So I think we, as individuals, everyone with their story, everyone with their experience and their expertise, make it the norm on that particular one. Virginia's not here. Has she come yet? Gambas, who's done an amazing work on the report that was released today. And I think that, she should be, she did 2 things I think that are amazing. Her consultation process was incredible, because this is a difficult area and we need to move. And the solutions she brought as that report came out for the Secretary General were also ones that mean that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how bad the horrors, whether it's Myanmar, it's Yemen, as we see today, quite frankly, there's a pathway to making sure we overcome those tragedies and those atrocities. And we have to work towards that. And with every report should come the opportunity to do better at solving those problems. And I think that this report did that. It made it very clear what the challenges were, but it also made it very clear the opportunities for everyone to right the wrongs. So on that, I know I should have at least paid for my starter. But thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
That was a perfect starter. So please have your other. It is very important for us that we really meet the new the USGs and ASGs, and that's why we are trying to invite all of them. And it's great to see more and more women amongst them. So thank you for all of you for coming.